So you may remember a week or 2 weeks ago back, we talked about the fact that so far Nigel Farage had not really entered his register of interest. And I think still at the moment, now that we do have that information, and we'll be getting into some, I think, of the interesting revelations some of these things did reveal. There's a lot I think people are going to be digging a lot more, but also asking questions why Nigel Farage would take money from, well, such people, as we're going to be seeing in a moment. Kind of odd and weird in some of those respects, but to no one's surprise, and I don't think it should be really a surprise to anyone, Nigel Farage is actually the highest earning MP in Parliament. you know, if we talk about stopping MP second jobs, if we do stop second jobs for MPs, which again I think Labour should really move on after this. It's a shame I've already sent my I talked a couple of days ago about sending letters to MPs. I've already sent one to Dan Jarvis. If I had included, if this had been out by then, I would have absolutely put this into my MP. So if you haven't yet written your letter to your MP, talk to them about ending second jobs and about how much Farage is getting from his payments and whatnot. So definitely something, of course, to watch out for. But before we do continue, like I say, please do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button. Of course, there are links down below for the Patreon page, the Buy Me Coffee link, where you can, well, buy me coffee, the YouTube thank you button, and of course, as always, there's the Pony Club down below as well. So let's crack on into this. Coming from The Guardian, having a look at this, where the title of course, Nigel Farage revealed to the UK's highest earning MP. What a surprise. So, Farage now appears to have been the most highest earning MP, having made almost more than 1.2 million a year. 1.2 million a year from GB News. And bear in mind, if you've or followed like the news from GB News, the news from GB News, but if you know anything about their financial situation, they're in quite some dire financial straits, and it's kind of funny to see someone like Nigel Farage get paid like 1.2 million, whereas you probably have other presenters on that channel that probably get paid a lot less than that and are earning nowhere near that amount. And who knows, bear in mind, we know Jacob Rees-Mogg is on that channel. We possibly won't know what he's getting paid now, but I can expect to be quite a bit. But once again, as you'll see in a moment, this is being funded by a billionaire, and of course, they are more than happy to keep this channel running for as long as they deem necessary. So, back to this. So, in the first register of interests of this new parliament, the Reform MP declared that he was earning over £97,900 and £900 a month. That is a lot to earn a month as a presenter for GB News, the channel now owned by hedge fund billionaire Paul Marshall. Farage, and this gets quite funny as well, Farage also revealed that his visit to the USA on the 17th of July in the aftermath of the assassination of Donald Trump cost around £32,000. How do you spend that much on a trip to see someone who didn't even go to see you? But this was also funded by Christopher Holborn, a Thailand-based crypto investor who previously gave millions to the Brexit party. The purpose, and this was quite fun, because if you remember when all that was going on, a lot of reporters were asking, or at least Farage was getting annoyed, very visibly annoyed by the number of reporters from the UK asking him, why are you here, not in Clacton? And ultimately, ironically, he kept on giving this response. He said, to support a friend who was almost killed and to represent Clacton on the world stage. I'm sure the people of Clacton are ecstatic about that because just recently they have started complaining about Farage in the local newspapers. There was a piece recently that got shared about in a letter's comment to the Clacton Gazette, the best Clacton news site you can think of. And in that sort of piece, it was complaining about the fact that Farage hasn't responded to any of this guy's letters, doesn't know when surgeries are going to be set up. When he tries and phones the office in Clacton, there's no one there, answers the phones. He's even phoned Parliament, and the response was from the people in Parliament, well, you elected him, it's not our problem. I wonder how long it's going to be before we maybe even start seeing local councillors start to complain, or even councils themselves, if you remember back when Nadine Dorris was doing something very similar. But this is when it gets also fun as well. Also, a further £900,250 to the National Conservative Conference in Brussels back in April, and that was funded by George Cottrell, an unofficial aide to Farage. Again, Farage, as we said, he's a kept man. We've talked about this before. He's a kept man. He gets paid all this ridiculous money by these people because they know that he pushes their agenda, and he makes hundreds of thousands of pounds of that. And you've also got to think how much actually, though, that went on the trip. Did it all go on the trip? Who knows? But hey, to have like that to just go to Brussels for a weekend, you know, I bet he had a lot of fun. Anyway, Cottrell, of course, a high-profile figure in Farage's entourage, spent at least 8 months in an American jail back in 2017 after being convicted for offering money laundering services on the dark web. Gee, fun to have such, you know, close people in that. I'm totally sure Farage is not availing himself of those services at all. Totally not. How would an upstanding person like Farage ever avail himself of such services? Surely he's not, right? Of course, this crime was committed back in 2014 before Cottrell even worked for either the anti-EU party, or even Farage. The MP's also social media earnings were also revealed, showing that he made over £1,550 through X and over £853 through Meta, as well as over £4,000 from cameo videos. The Clacton MP is also paid £4,000 a month by the Daily Telegraph. So when Nigel Farage turns around and tells people that there's, quote, no money in politics, I think you can clearly see there is. I don't think there will be a lot of people who would not say no to that amount of money if someone went, here's this amount of money. I don't think there's a lot of people would turn that down. But anyway, Joe McGowan, the founder of the Good Law Project, also said, you look at all these numbers and of course you wonder, has Nigel Farage actually catapulted himself to the top of the list of highest earners now in Clacton? Great for him, but it's not really public service, is it? Previously, of course, the last highest earning MP was Geoffrey Cox, a Tory MP, who also works as a barrister. He earned over £293,000 from law firm Withers, but also collected payments of over £379,000 from Indian Chambers in July for work that he carried out between 2016 to 2018. The newest register of interest also confirms that Keir Starmer was also gifted for football tickets for hospitality to a Taylor Swift concert by the Football Association worth over £4,000. The Prime Minister had previously raised eyebrows with over his £76,000 worth of freebies and hospitalities he had accepted while in opposition. In terms of donations, the register did reveal that huge amounts of cash were given to new MPs by the Labour Together for think tank, run, of course, formerly by Starmer's political strategist Morgan McSweeney, funded by private donors. The Starmer outfit gave almost £900,000 towards the general election campaign for over 106 MPs. These donations typically were either £5,000 or over £10,000 and went predominantly to candidates not already in Parliament. Only 7 MPs actually held their seats prior to this election. So almost half of the 211 new Labour MPs elected did receive donations towards their campaigns from Labour Together, now, of course, led by former MP Jonathan Ashworth. Ashworth replaced John Simmons, who was elected as an MP. In addition to support for the general election campaign, Labour Together was also in the past paid for the provision of staff for research services for Number 10 ministers, including Rachel Reeves, Yvette Cooper, and of course David Lammy. So once again, I think good excuse why we need to stop second jobs. I think there is a really good excuse we can say, why we should be stopping second jobs. I think right there. Of course, the stuff about Labour is sort of, it's campaign funding and things like that. And at the end of the day, you can have conversations about, well, how much should campaigns be funded? What donations can they take? Should we look at democratic vouchers? We've talked about that in the past. Is that a way to sort of fund campaigns that would, of course, take private money completely out of it? I still think there should be some form of private sort of public financing, but maybe sort of cap it. Let's say only individuals can give. Maybe you can say organizations as we mentioned there, Labour Together can give, but again, they're capped at how much they can give. Again, these are all conversations that I know we've had in the past and sort of talked about. So, like I say, let me know what you think. But honestly, this shouldn't come as a surprise. What Nigel Farage has been earning, but I almost guarantee you now, I think there's going to be a lot of, should we say, very interested journalists looking at Farage's partners, what they've been doing, and of course, especially that one individual in particular. Has he been helping Nigel Farage in maybe ways he shouldn't be? I don't know, but I'm sure now that information's out there, you're going to get, I think, a lot of journalists looking very, very closely with Farage. Not only that, I also think you're going to see security services as well in the wake of these riots, also looking at, where Farage's money has, shall we say, come from, and then, well, gone to as well. So who knows what will happen on that front, but I've said it before, I don't think Nigel Farage will last until the next general election. I'll be very surprised if he does, but I think something sooner or later will get him. But as always, let me know what you think down below. And of course, until then, we'll see you all next time.